Hello, welcome back. Happy 2024. My name is Claire and this is Peachy Keen Pans, and today I am going to finish up my Pan Those Eyeshadows 2023 project and also introduce my Battleship Pans Bonanza Focus Palette, which is essentially my Pan That palette for 2024 but with a fun twist. I'm combining the two because I figured that both of them would actually be very short videos. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of progress to summarize from the end of 2023, and the intro for my Pan That palette for this year I feel would be quite short because I've already mentioned it in previous videos in terms of like my plan to pan 2024. So jumping right in terms of last year's Pan Those Eyeshadows focus shades. This is pretty much how I was tracking it. I think I've shown this a couple of times. Hopefully you can see there what the numbers look like. So basically I was working on two shades from the Just Peachy Mattes palette and one single from Pretties for Your Face, one shadow from the Claro Psyche palette, and one P. Louise shadow. Alright, first off I've got these two shades, Peach Meringue and Peach Tea, which look like, as you can see, very little progress. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear my neighbors singing, but I think that's what's happening right now, so love that for them. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of progress on here. It basically just was like a couple of uses each. So my total uses for Peach Meringue ended up being 9 and Peach Tea was only 4, because I think I am partly holding onto this palette for sentimental reasons, because really, like, even though I made it so much sort of customized and added a bunch of new shades in, it's still not what I'm really reaching for most of the time. Like, yes, in terms of maybe this specific corner of like light peachy colors, but like browns and darker peaches, I guess a bit less so. But in any case, I got a couple of uses on there anyway. I think I was hoping to get all of those focus shadows to 10 uses by the end of the year, so I did not manage to do that. Yeah, so if I have any looks that I recorded from that, I'll put them up. But again, with those two shadows, I might not, because they weren't like super interesting shades. The next one was a single from Pretties for Your Face, which I keep in here with all my other kind of like murky, cool toned singles. That's kind of how I think of this palette. And it was Eliza, which is this shadow. I'll see if you can kind of get a good close up there. But yeah, like, you can kind of see it's been disturbed, but on the other hand, I had to repress this once when it shattered, so I feel like it always just permanently looks kind of used, even when it hasn't been used heaps. So that one I did manage to use 11 times, and that was mostly as an inner corner highlight. So I feel like, yeah, late last year, even when I wasn't using any eyeshadow, the one thing I could pretty much still maintain, like say if I didn't have enough time or just kind of wasn't feeling like doing it, was using an inner corner highlight, whether that be an actual highlighter or an eyeshadow. That much kind of I could do. So yeah, that one I'm happy with. To at least have gotten 11 uses. I did hit a goal on that one. Then the last two, like, I just didn't do much with the last two. And I think that's partly that, like, towards the end of last year, when I did do big eyeshadow looks, I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do, because it was often for like parties and stuff, being like Christmas time, you know, that kind of thing. Or, you know, New Year's. Like, I wasn't very much feeling like I wanted to be guided by my Pan Those Eyeshadows project as much as I was in previous months. So this shade, Petrichor, I only used one time when I rolled it in. And like, I had used it obviously a few more times. You can see there's a little bit of a dip in there, but sort of nothing, you know, very significant, especially compared to how well used the rest of the palette is. Yeah, I keep wondering about this palette. Like, do I just destroy it and make like a fun little custom 12 pen using shades from my collection. Maybe, you know, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. And then the last one was from this gigantic palette from P. Louise, and it was, let me see, Breakthrough, like the punchiest fucking neon pink you've ever seen. Such a crazy color. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll show it close up, but really it has hardly any usage on it. This I only used once in the project, which was when I filmed that video to introduce it. So not my best. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot on the eyes, which, I mean, I guess that's the point of colors like that. But I think that's where, in terms of pan those eyeshadows type of colors, I definitely struggle more with those, like a really bright color. But yeah, I think overall can say I'm like pleased with having wrapped up that project. I'm calling it a day on the project. I'm not going to sort of roll it into 2024. Instead, I'm going to really focus on my Pan That palette. I'll consider picking up a Pan Those eyeshadows maybe later in the year, but for now, I'm jumping into my Pan That palette. So the plan for this is, so yeah, basically I'm part of a project that is a group project and like a partnered project where, so it's called Battleship Pans Bonanza, and it's was created by, I'm really bad with remembering like people's proper names from Instagram, so I'm just going to put it on the screen. 2 creators on Instagram, part of the panning community, people whose posts I really enjoy, and actually, yeah, really enjoy both of their content. I somehow hadn't really like, it hadn't occurred to me before, but yeah, one of them does really cool color theory work, and the other does like a lot of custom nails that are really beautiful. So I put my hand up. I don't have anything on my nails today, but yeah, I really enjoy both of their Instagram accounts, I guess. And yeah, so they made this project where you treat your, I think that there was already like a Dude You Panned My Battleship, so it was kind of based on that, but I think the difference with this one is that you don't just have partners, you also have teams. So the idea is you treat your palette like a battleship grid, like Battleship's the game, and you put like your partner who you paired up with for the project lays down these like, you know, imaginary battleships on your palette. So like, for example, you could have like 2 here or like 3 here, like, you know how you put in ships. And so yeah, I've paired up with Mirja, or Mirja, I should check the pronunciation. So I have a buddy in Germany, and she's also panning a Natasha Denona she's also panning a Natasha Denona palette, so that's really fun. We have the same size that we're working on. So I introduced that on Instagram, and I laid the battleships out for her and everything. And the idea is, sorry, it's been a very roundabout way of getting to it. The idea is that where she has placed a battleship on my palette, if I hit pan on that shade, it's like a win or a hit. And if I hit pan on a different shade, it's like a splash or a miss because I missed the battleship. And then at the end of this project, which I think lasts 1 year or maybe 11 months, we will all be like tallying up who had the most hits from each duo. And each duo, one person is in like the blue team, one is in the peach team. I think they're based on Pantone colors of the year for this year and last year. Yeah, so then at the end you also have a winning team, not just a winning person out of the duos. I hope that makes sense. I'm on the peach team because like, yeah, Mirja kindly anticipated that that's what I would like to be, and she was absolutely right. So yeah, I've already been working on this for the last like 5 days since the project started. So basically what I've got going on here is yeah, like some usage from before I owned it, because as I've said before, this is a secondhand palette, and otherwise a little bit of usage from me so far. So far I've used, I think, every shadow except for Tulle and Bora. Oh, those are not the proper names because I rearranged it. Anyway, the pale blue and the pink. Those two I haven't used yet. And I should also note that, like, in addition to rearranging it, this one I pressed a ColourPop shadow in the place of, I took out the shade Starlet, which was like a sparkly red, and put in a bright peach, which is like my perfect waterline, not waterline, like lower lash line shade. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying the palette. Like, obviously the look I have on today is from this palette. I think exclusively, I didn't pull any other shades. So yeah, I will be updating it monthly, middle of the month, which is kind of good because I think mentally with like Panda's eyeshadows, I was always trying to update at the beginning of the month, but it would never really be that. It'd always be a few days late. So now if I kind of am reminded of updating this project at the beginning of each month, by the time I actually film it, I mean, obviously, like, I will try and film it around the 15th every month, but you know what I mean. I will have thought of it in advance instead of running a little late. So yeah. I hope you enjoy the project. I'm really looking forward to it. I think this is a really fun palette to focus on. So yeah, what I think today ended up looking a little bit like a post that I saw recently. Carol Lee, I think, put up like this really, like, a grungy color story that was like green, blue, orangey, yellow. And I feel like I've done a bit of a pastel version of that. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys agree. But I feel like I was like subconsciously inspired by her. I'm going to be traveling. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this palette with me. I'm going to Indonesia for a week and a half. So I'll bring it with me. I'll see what I can do with it. Might even multitask it a bit on the cheeks. And yeah, I think that's pretty much a wrap. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you in less than a month's time. Bye.